Hey guys, Retired at 40. I'm finally rolling out a freeze-dried video. I know, it's been so long since I've done it. Summer's going by so fast that the freeze-drying has just gotten kind of put back on the back burner. So today's video, I'm going to try and solve a problem that I've been having with camping and rehydrating freeze-dried stuff, especially breakfast. As we all know, breads do not rehydrate well. And the thing that is kind of lacking in breakfast freeze-dried is pancakes. So today we're going to do some potato pancakes. Because of the potatoes, I think it's going to rehydrate quite a bit better. I'm going to give you my homemade potato pancake recipe, and then we're going to freeze dry it. Coming up. So here's what we need for our potato pancakes. We need some flour, some butter, some oil. I'm using coconut oil. We need some baking powder, some pepper, some salt, a little onion powder or onion salt if you want to, a little bit of milk, 2 eggs, 3 to 4 russet potatoes depending on the size of the potato, and some grated cheese. So the first thing we want to do is skin our potatoes. Grab yourself a mixing bowl, and then we're going to put these, after they're shredded, we're going to put them into the mixing bowl. Next we're going to add a half a cup of milk. And then we're going to do 2 eggs. And we're going to mix this all together before we add our next ingredients. So make sure you get your egg blended up and everything evenly coated on this before we add our next ingredients, which is going to be 1 cup of flour. Then we need 1 total cup of cheese. You can break it up into different types of cheeses. You can do half Parmesan, half cheddar. I like to do all cheddar, so as long as you have 1 cup of cheese total. You can also add bacon bits in at this time if you want. You'd need 1/4 cup of bacon bits or something else if you wanted to add something else. Next are the quick ingredients. We're going to do a teaspoon of onion salt or onion powder. We're going to do a teaspoon of salt. And we're going to do a teaspoon of baking powder. And then we're going to do a half teaspoon of black powder. I said black powder, but I meant black pepper. Although I wouldn't recommend using black powder, I'm sure it would be a blast. And probably an explosion of flavor. If you try it, make sure you shoot me a comment. So that's all of our ingredients. We're going to mix this up until we have a nice even consistency. And then if you have a big skillet or a griddle, that would work best for this. But it can be done in a frying pan also. It just takes a little bit longer. So we're going to get a skillet or a griddle or whatever you're using. You want it on about a medium heat, and we're going to add some oil and some butter. I'm actually using coconut oil because I like the taste that it adds to everything. And then for butter, I use avocado butter. If you've never tried it, you should actually give it a shot. It doesn't taste like fake butter. It tastes exactly like butter, but it's heart healthy. So just put a little dollop of butter on here, and then add a little bit of coconut oil, and just kind of swoosh it around. Alright, so we're going to take a little bit of our pancake mixture, and you just need kind of a dollop on there, and then we want to spread it around as thin as we can get it without having holes in it. And we're just going to let that hang out on medium. And we also need to be careful because we're using a lot of oil, and we know since we're freeze drying, the oil doesn't always do that well with freeze drying. So I think after we're done cooking them, we probably want to pat them off with a paper towel to remove as much of the oil as we can. Or better yet, we can just line the trays with some paper towels and towel them off, and then we can actually just leave the paper towels down when we freeze dry, and that should pretty much absorb the rest of the oil. Now let's check on our potato pancakes and see how we're coming along. So the oil's starting to heat up now, and we can get a spatula under it, but it's not totally ready. So I think as we cook these, I think I'm actually going to use less and less oil and see if we can get away with using very little oil. Alright, this one's good. That side is more what you want. I'm going to try a little bit less oil on this one. If in doubt, go to low heat. The other thing to think about too is if you don't get them totally cooked right now, you can actually cook them again when you rehydrate them. So that gets me thinking that maybe we should try and freeze dry some raw potato pancakes and then try and rehydrate them and cook them. So let's do that. Alright, here's my third attempt. There's almost no oil left in the pan, and I'm gonna cook it really low and slow. I think it will freeze dry and it will rehydrate a lot better. Alright, I just flipped it, and it looks like low and slow is the way to go. So really interesting, the third one was the one that had the least amount of oil, and I went low heat, and I cooked it very slow, and it turned out the best out of all of them. So I think I have enough for one more pancake, so I'm gonna do this one low and slow also, and it has almost no oil once again. And if you follow this recipe, I think you'd have, if you cooked all of the pancakes, I think you would have enough to fill all 4 trays. Okay, same thing. This one turned out really good. Low oil, low heat, cook it slow. Flapjack coming at you. So these are ready to go into the deep freeze, and then I think after they're frozen, I think that I'll probably switch out the paper towel once again. Oh, look at that, there's already some trays in there. That's a good thing because we don't have a full batch, we only have 2 trays. So I'll go ahead and throw these in with these other ones, and then I'll have a full batch to go. We'll let these hang out overnight, and we'll come and check on them and make sure they're all ready to go in the freeze dryer in the morning. Alright, so these have been sitting in overnight. I've got our cooked potato pancakes, our uncooked potato pancakes, and then I'm going to throw in some refried beans just to fill the freeze dryer up. So you'll have to excuse my temporary setup here. It's kind of crude. It's out in the garage, which is not an ideal situation. It's dusty and hot, but it'll have to do. Alright, so our pre-freeze is all complete. I selected pre-frozen on the software. I'm going to hit start, close the drain valve, and I left it on all default settings, so we'll see how long this takes, and I'll catch you in a minute. Alright, we're all wrapped up. 28 hours and 55 minutes, so almost 29 hours. So I'm feeling really confident on how these turned out. If you remember in the campfire breakfast video that I did, the regular pancakes did not do well. Anything that's bread-like does not typically turn out very well, and these turned out exactly how you want them to be. I think these will absolutely do fine. These I have a little bit of hesitation, but let's just try it and find out. Alright, so I'm going to start with the raw ones. So we just need enough to make one pancake, and I'm just going to soak them in a little bit of water, and we'll keep it mixed up. It'll take it a few minutes, I'm guessing, to absorb all that water, and then we can throw them into an oiled pan. And then for the cooked ones, I think that the best way to do this is just to put them in a pan with some water in it, just a little bit of water, and go on really low heat, and just kind of let the pancake cook at the same time that it's absorbing the water. So I'm going to take the one that's the least done. This was actually the one that had the least oil in it. So here's our uncooked ones. They actually are they're taking in the water really well. There's no more dryness to them. So I'm gonna let them sit for a little bit more, and then I'm gonna give it a mix and throw it into an oiled pan. So our cooked pancake's starting to heat up. The water's starting to heat up. I'm hoping that it's not gonna get doughy like bread typically does. But I think if I have to, I can just kind of take the water out slowly and just rehydrate it with more steam and just water vapor. Oil's getting hot on here. I'm going to go ahead and add the potato pancake that's uncooked. The consistency is good. I like how it's coming back. I like how it's rehydrated. I think it's going to be exactly the way it was when we put it into the freeze dryer. So our cooked pancakes, it looks like it's getting a little bit soft, so I'm going to go ahead and dump the water out and then just try and rehydrate it in the water that it's already taken in. I just flipped the uncooked potato pancake. It's looking really good. It's got that crisp on it, just like you want it. It's just a little bit golden brown in the center. I think it's going to do awesome. The cooked one is starting to come back a little bit, but I think I'm going to pull it off and I'm going to heat some oil in this pan. And then I'm just gonna stick it back in there with the moisture it has with some oil, and then we're gonna see if that helps. Wow, the raw one looks really good. It looks perfect. It looks exactly like you just made it. It's got that great crispness to it, great golden brown, both sides. The potatoes got done just like they normally would. Couldn't ask for a better end product. The cooked one we've been struggling a little bit with. I think I might turn up the heat just a little bit now since it's been going low and slow for a while. It is starting to firm up just a little bit. Not too bad. It's a little bit crisp. I'd like them to be just a little bit softer, but it's definitely edible. I think if you did it a couple more times, you'd have no problem doing this just fine. Well, I think we solved the pancake problem. Instead of doing buttermilk style pancakes, you just need to do potato pancakes. If you add some ranch dressing, or you can add maple syrup just like you would regular pancakes, or some people do ketchup, I think it's definitely a feasible option. The uncooked works a lot better than the cooked does, but I think with a couple tries I could get the cooked ones to do pretty darn good. The uncooked ones are definitely the winner though. They turn out soft in the middle and crisp on the outside, exactly how you want them, and they taste just like they came off the grill. So if you're into freeze drying or food preservation or prepping or gardening or frugal living or any of the other things that we do on this channel, take a minute to subscribe. Click the bell to get notifications of future videos that come out. Make sure you hit the like button if you enjoyed the video, and that way YouTube will push this video to people who actually enjoy this kind of content. Also, feel free to shoot me a comment or what your experience is with potato pancakes or buttermilk pancakes, and I always love hearing from the community. In the meantime, this is Retired at 40. Remember to live life simple. I'll catch you next week.